Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a wild story where an AI, a protest, and one of the world's most famous police forces all collided, and the result was a massive firestorm of misinformation. So, where does this all start? Right here, with this quote, a super direct, very public correction from London's Metropolitan Police. I mean, think about that for a second. It's not every day you see a police force having to publicly fact-check an AI. This statement, well, it's just the tip of a very big iceberg.
And yeah, that quote just makes you wonder, right? What on earth was this AI response they were even talking about? What video was it, and why was it so important that the Met Police had to step in and so forcefully say, nope, that's completely wrong?
To really break down the bogus claim, the police didn't just put out a statement. Oh no, they brought out the maps.
You can see here just how clear they made it. They drew a big, bold line between what the AI was claiming and what the reality was. And look, this wasn't some minor error, like getting a street number wrong. The AI placed the event in Trafalgar Square. You know, one of the most famous landmarks on the planet. But it actually happened over at the junction of Whitehall and Horse Guards Avenue. Still a really significant spot politically, but a completely different location.
So we know the police had to correct a pretty huge mistake about where this protest happened. But who, or maybe what, made that mistake to begin with? Well, let's meet the AI at the very center of this whole mess.
The culprit, if you want to call it that, was Grok. That's an AI chatbot from Elon Musk's company, XAI. It's built right into the social media platform X to answer people's questions. But here's the thing with a lot of these big AI models. Sometimes they just make stuff up. It's called hallucinating. And it's when they present totally wrong information as if it's a solid fact. And that is exactly what happened here.
And this slide, wow, it just lays out the sheer scale of the error. Grok wasn't just a little bit off, it got pretty much everything wrong. It mistook a late 2023 far-right Unite the Kingdom rally for an anti-lockdown protest from 2020. I mean, those are two fundamentally different events with entirely different political contexts, which is precisely why this mistake wasn't just kind of funny, it was actually pretty dangerous.
So an AI making a mistake is one thing. It happens. But for that mistake to blow up so big that the police have to issue a formal response, well, it has to spread. So how did a simple bot error escalate into a huge public incident?
Here you have it, the modern chain of misinformation in 4 easy steps. It starts simple. A user asks the AI to identify a video. Then, the AI messes up, giving a totally false answer. But here's the key step. A prominent columnist then shares that wrong answer and uses it to cast doubt on the police, asking, hey, did the Met lie about when this footage was filmed? And just like that, the police are forced into a corner, having to publicly debunk a falsehood that all started with a simple line of code.
Now, to really understand why this particular piece of misinformation was so sensitive, we need to look at the real-world event that was happening in that video footage. Yeah, that video wasn't from just any old protest. It was from a rally organized by Tommy Robinson, a very well-known far-right activist. And the source material makes it clear that this event saw violent clashes break out between the protesters and the police.
26. Let's just pause on that number for a moment. That's the real-world consequence of what happened that day. 26 police officers were injured during those clashes. So this wasn't just some abstract digital debate about a video. It was rooted in a real, violent confrontation that the AI's error tried to misrepresent and even erase.
And here is where the story takes another really interesting turn. Elon Musk, the owner of both the platform X and the AI Grok, he wasn't just a bystander in all this. He personally addressed the crowd at this very rally through a live video link. As you can probably guess, his participation and his words drew immediate and very sharp criticism from UK political figures. The UK's business secretary, Peter Kyle, called his comments incomprehensible and totally inappropriate, which really highlights how seriously his intervention was being taken.
So what were the words that caused such a strong reaction? Speaking to the crowd, Musk said that violence is coming and that you either fight back or you die. Now, that kind of rhetoric, delivered to a protest that saw dozens of police officers injured, is the critical context for this entire affair.
So, you have to ask the crucial question. Was this AI error just a simple, one-off glitch? Or does it maybe fit into a wider pattern, a bigger context of the platform and its owner's history?
Well, according to the source material, this isn't an isolated incident.
The sources point to other examples, like Grok referencing the white genocide conspiracy theory. They also mention Musk himself posting that a civil war is inevitable in the UK. The sources connect these instances to argue that there's a wider pattern here that goes beyond just one single bad AI response.
Which leaves us with this final and honestly critical question. This whole event, from the bot's error to the police debunking, it forces us to ask, in an age where AI can literally shape what people believe, who's truly responsible when it gets things so dangerously wrong? Is it the code, the user who asks the question, or is it the creator who built the system in the first place? That's a question we're all going to have to answer.